It's okay though, I'm having a pretty good week otherwise. Finally this week I was able to bundle my home and auto insurance. I did that by moving into my car. Yeah. The good news is I used to be an Uber driver, so for a while I was working from home. You know, that was a nice little benefit. I was an Uber driver for a bit. It was cool. One time I picked up a teacher when I was doing Uber, and he asked me what I do in my free time, and I told this man that I'm also a comedian. And he goes, oh, you know, being a teacher and being a comedian actually have a bunch of things in common. I was like, what do you think the biggest similarity is? He said, we both have to drive Uber on the side. So that's a joke about our economy, everybody. I did Uber in a small town. I went to pick up this girl from her dorm room, actually. And as we were pulling away from there, she goes, you're not gonna murder me, are you? And just then, the automatic lock feature on my door is activated. So I lost my 5-star rating pretty quickly. I went to pick up another group of frat kids. Before they got in my car, they're like, dude, you're young. It's Saturday. Why don't you come hit the bars with us right now? I was like, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't really see the point in going out to drink anymore. I'm already drunk, okay? Just get in, okay? You boys like Eminem? It's a joke. I never would drink and drive when I was doing Uber. I never had the confidence, I guess. Although I do still have the app on my phone and some free time after this. If anybody needs a ride home. I would though. I would smoke a bunch of weed before I drove Uber. That was one of my favorite things to do. Probably a mistake to do that high though, because one time I got halfway through a ride and just forgot there was somebody in my car. I spent way too long trying to convince this guy that the GPS just took us through a Wendy's drive-thru, you know? I was like, brother, you could have spoke up, you know? I had to buy you a Frosty, you know? A little Baconator on the house. I like that job a lot. For a while after that, I was a door guy at a place that actually did a comedy open mic. It was okay, except for the fact that after the mic every day, I had to hear everybody's opinions on my set as they left the building. I was the door guy. One time this guy, he came up to me, and he goes, hey man, you had really good writing. You got bad stage presence. I was like, you must be my biggest fan. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. My job as a door guy was basically just to stand outside on the street. And like a week after that, I was standing outside, and this mom and her little boy walked by me, and this 5-year-old kid like points at me, and then he turns to his mom, and he goes, what's wrong with that man? And the mom, she looks at me and she goes, I'm so sorry, he shouldn't have said that. And then she looks back at her son and goes, I'll explain later. I really like to think that they got a block down the street and she was like, honey, the guy's got bad delivery. He sucks at comedy. Yeah, that job was all right. I was like a security guard, quote unquote. My main job as a security guard is they wanted me to check inside of people's bags for guns. Which is cool, except I have no idea what to do if I find a gun, you know what I mean? If I find a gun, you're in charge of the rest of that interaction. I told my boss I didn't know what to do if I find a gun, and he's like, we should come up with some sort of like code word so we're on the same page. I was like, yeah, dude, the code word's gonna be me crying, all right? The code word is if I open somebody's bag and piss myself. I found a gun. I'm very excited to be in Chicago. I moved here from a very small town. From a small town in Indiana, which means I have a lot of like redneck, stupid relatives. I was talking to one of my uncles recently. We were talking about basketball, and he got the words diversity and adversity confused. He said Larry Bird was a great player despite all the diversity he faced. It's like, you're wrong but not incorrect, you know what I mean? I guess technically that applies. All right, cool, you didn't laugh at the second part. You're gonna go home and watch some highlights and you're gonna agree with me. I'll send you some clips. I get to be a white trash uncle now. It's quite an honor. I was hanging out with my oldest niece recently, and I was getting her to say a bunch of words and phrases that she doesn't know yet. I got my 2-year-old niece to say that Bush did 9/11. She had a pretty cute response. She goes, Uncle Devin, Dick Cheney actually authorized the shooting of Flight 93. It's like, you've been hanging out with Grandpa too much. Chicago's a much more civilized place. I got away from my old neighbor. This guy would talk to me every day about annoying things. Every day, this old neighbor, he would tell me about how his dog kept getting sprayed by the same skunk, and how he had no idea when it was happening. Between us guys, I never had the nerve to tell him I had been smoking weed with his dog, okay? All right, sweet, give it up, all right, cool. They didn't laugh, and now I'm going for the fist bump, and I didn't get it. That was way too long, sweet. You know, take that out of my time. I'm cutting this back, started from the top, so my friends didn't come. Fuck off. I just hit her with the microphone. You didn't laugh again. See, every time you don't laugh, it just feels like I'm being the worst person on earth, so I have to, like, follow through. That same neighbor, though, he was very annoying. Every week, this guy would do laundry, and he would hang up a Confederate flag blanket to dry. Indiana for you. Every week, I would go outside, and I would see this blanket, and I would make fun of this guy, call him a racist and a dumbass and all this stuff. And then about, like, the 5th time I went outside and saw it, I realized I had not washed my blankets once yet. So who's the real monster here? I got to Chicago. I got my internet set up at my new place. I realized that my neighbor's internet router, one of theirs is called, "Hey Mom, this is the Wi-Fi." Mine's called, "No Mom, this is the Wi-Fi." I'm a son of a bitch, that's right. I think one of my other neighbors caught on because they called theirs, "Also, we're putting you in a home." So I got my internet set up. I like to get stoned and scroll through Facebook Marketplace. It's just very interesting to me. I was on Market... That was the... Are you selling something? What the hell is that? Because I'm interested. Recently, I saw a flamethrower for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The caption said, "Don't need it anymore." What the hell have you been up to? I wanted to buy it and, like, put it back on Marketplace just for the joke. I wanted to change the caption just a little bit. "Don't need it anymore. Used once and felt pretty bad about it." See who buys it. I think the reason that I like that kind of stuff so much, Marketplace, all that kind of stuff, is I grew up very poor. A lot of, like, secondhand stuff. Clap if anybody here had hand-me-down clothes as a kid. Very half and half. Would they segregate this place whenever you walked in? My point, isn't it kind of weird getting bullied for the way that somebody else used to dress, you know? I think it's a clever observation. My point is, there's no reason my brother and I both had to be called gay over the same pair of pants, you know? A pair of Levi's, and we both homophobia. Yeah, I have a very Indiana family. Weed's illegal in Indiana. We're a little behind. And for a while growing up, my dad had some weed plants. And one time I found one of his plants, and I asked him what it was. He told me it was a tomato plant, and that I couldn't tell anybody. Growing up, I thought tomatoes were a secret, you know? I had a friend at my house one time, and he asked my mom for a tomato on a sandwich. I was like, "Buddy, what the fuck are you doing right now?" You know? I realized I invited a snitch to my slumber party, asshole. My dad, growing up, he would hide his weed smoking. He would do it in the bathroom. That was his big trick. And one time I went to the bathroom right after him, and I was like, "Why does Dad's poop smell so much different than mine?" And then I smoked weed for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, Dad eats a lot of weed." That's right, everybody, I'm a hack. I don't care who knows it. Yeah. A lot of idiot white trash friends as well. I was talking to one of my buddies recently. This guy was like, "I have $2,000 in tattoos on my right arm right now." I was like, "Brother, your car doesn't have air conditioning. So have you considered selling the tattoos? You know, a tattoo shouldn't be the most expensive thing you own." The same guy, though, he was telling me recently, he lost his virginity a couple weeks back at 25 years old. Very happy for him. I don't think there's anything, like, wrong with being a virgin at 25, but my friend told me that he did so well after his first time that he can be a porn star. It's like, dude, nobody's ever made it to the NBA after picking up a basketball for the first time in their 20s. I found out later in the night that he asked this girl if she finished whenever they were done hooking up. Michael Jordan never asked if he just dunked on somebody, you know what I mean? Could you imagine if he looked at the ref like, "Was that good for you?" I'm going home. Give it up for Jim, everybody. Love you guys. Bye.
Devin Glass, come on.